Good morning, class 12th. So let's have our English core class. Today we are going to start a new chapter from the book Flamingo, that is Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood, the second chapter. So let's try to understand what this chapter is all about. First of all, think about, I'm giving you a scenario here. We are having number of seasons in our country, specifically in Delhi also. So out of those seasons, which is the best one according to you and why? I'm not talking about only summers and winters. Even there is a spring season, right? So spring season, the things at that time where it blooms, right? Spring is a season where the things blooms. So basically, spring is that kind of a season which gives us a lot of happiness, right? This is the season which gives us a lot of joy from inside. When we look around us in the spring season, we see the beauty, the beautiful things, the nature, our trees and flowers at that time. So while looking at them, it seems that it is giving us a joy and happiness. With that, if we go a little deep inside, it gives a hope in our life too. So I guess you're able to understand what this spring is about. Right? So what this spring is about, you're able to understand. But now the point is, title says Lost Spring. The title says Lost Spring. So it means the spring, this happiness, this joy is missing from our lives. We can easily relate. If spring signifies the things which is happiness, joy, beauty, hope, so lost spring means these things are missing. Now if you read the subtitle here, it says about stories of stolen childhood. So with that, you are able to understand that we are talking about the stories related to childhood. And those things, those childhood days are stolen one. Right? I guess this is also clear. In an individual's life, you tell me, which is the best phase to enjoy? Childhood? If you remember, we discussed in class 11th also in our poem Childhood. No stress, no tensions, relaxation is there. The only thing is that you need to study. You need to get education. That is the basic right. But childhood signifies innocence. It signifies that you are here to have the happiness in your life, to spread the joy. But this chapter specifically Lost Spring, it's about stories. Why stories? Because in this chapter we are having two short stories. So it says about stolen childhood, at the childhood of those children, the protagonist of the stories, it's missing here. That we need to understand. Right? I guess this much is clear to you. Next thing you need to understand that this title, Lost Spring, is a metaphor here. Yeah. It's a metaphor. Because here the poet is comparing the lives of the children with the lost spring. That's why. So first let's try to understand about the author here and let's see what it says. Jung is the writer. She said, It's about her. She was born in Rourkela and spent her childhood and adolescence in Hyderabad. Received her education in Hyderabad and in the US. Parents were both writers. She began her career as a writer in India. She has been an editor, columnist for major newspapers in India and abroad, authored several books. The following, like this chapter, is an excerpt from her book titled Lost Springs Stories of Stolen Childhood. She analyzes the grinding poverty and traditions which condemns these children to a life of exploitation. So, this is the theme. This chapter talks about due to the poverty, due to this tradition of the poverty, because people are living in that BPL line, below poverty line, the lives of these children leads to the exploitation part. Clear? Now we are having two short stories. The first one is Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. Right? Before that also, as the title, this not title here, this theme here that she analyzes the grinding poverty. So even you can mention it here that this chapter talks about a bad or the sad picture of children who are depressed under poverty. Their life is full of problems and obstacles, exploitation. We're talking about the child laborers here. Please try to understand. We are talking about the child laborers. We are looking around. If we look around us in restaurants, malls, like making the candles, the bangles, carrying loads, everywhere we are looking the small children. They are carrying their things instead of doing something else. So childhood is the phase where one need to have the good education in his or her hand, not to get exploited. It is a life which you need to enjoy. You should have the happiness. You should have the joy in your life. That hope that you are going to do the best in your life in the later on stages. But unfortunately, due to the poverty, these children were not able to do anything. This world is a dark world. And only few are having the courage and fortitude to come forward and do something. Right? So what you need to do is, you need to read the chapter, especially the first one, Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. The story is about Sahibe Alam, who is a rag picker. Please try to understand, rag picker, who used to pick the garbage. Lives in Simapuri area. Earlier belonged to Dhaka, but his family and the families of other rag pickers from Dhaka, they shifted here. Why? Because there they had suffered a loss. Their green fields. They had their green fields here, but due to the storms, if you will see here, due to the storms, those green fields were swept away and they were homeless. So they decided to shift here and they became the rag pickers. Walking barefoot, giving different excuses. So Sahib Alam met with Jung and then later on things happened. So till now I'm covering up. Read it and especially these expressions also. Try to understand it and we will discuss it in the next class. Thank you and God bless you, and send the worksheet to me timely. Bye-bye.